Reading is one of your, quote, bonus readings, unquote. It's actually from Monday, so I'm catching up here. And I'll do the reading for today, but later on. Maybe early evening, I don't know, but I'll do it definitely later on today. When I pre-read the reading, just as it stands, this reading is hard to apply to everybody. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to read the reading all the way through, whether you're spiritual or not, religious or not, science of mind or not, just hang on. Because as I said, this reading as it's written, really, it's a stretch to make it apply to everybody, but we're going to do that. We're going to fit it in afterwards. We're going to look at some people around the world who have passed on right now, but who might help to explain this in a different light. Okay, so here we go. It's called Hold On to Your Practice. Charlotte Yoko Beck, I did not look up who Charlotte Yoko Beck is, says as follows, and there's a repeat in here, so I'm not repeating myself. It's actually repeated in the quote. Who knows how we should be? We simply do. Who knows how we should be? We simply do our best over and over and over. Ernest Holmes says, if you believe you're in a locked room and you believe it so firmly that you don't even try the doors and the windows, the results are exactly the same as though you were in an actual locked room. Though the actual truth may be that there is no lock and that you're free to go as you please. Now, obviously, he's speaking from a relatively straightforward standpoint to a bit more of a metaphorical standpoint. And that was in the basic ideas of Science of Mind on page 42. This is Reverend Josh Reeves. And as I said, I think the easiest way today is for me to read the whole thing and then to go up and try and make it fit to anybody who's watching this, reading this, whatever. He says, when everything is falling apart, hold on to your practice. It will see you through. It will reveal to you that the seeming fracture in your relationship with another is only true in one dimension of existence, and that there's another dimension in which you are one. In your practice, you can go to this place, surround this other being in light and love, even if you must, for your own well-being, love them from a distance. Your practice will reveal that even when things aren't okay, you are okay. Indeed, things can be perfectly wonderful and terrible at the same time. You are that interesting. Your practice reminds you to pitch a tent in your wholeness rather than in the mess. I know from experience that the best time to remember my wholeness is in the midst of my experience of being broken. Practice is the time when we remember that our life is not ours alone, but belongs to the universe as well. There's a story of a church deacon who at the end of the night would pray, God, this is not my church, it's yours. I leave it up to you. We can do that with our everyday life as well. Universe, this is not my life, it's yours. Do with it what you will. Today, I release trying to figure it all out and simply refuse to participate in the problems. The universe, the all, the divine spirit is my solution. Love is my prescription. Listening is my reward. I refuse to be anything other than blessed. So there are lots and lots of ways that we could really interpret this. I mean, it's pretty broad. I'm not sure how many of you are aware, but the idea of the subconscious mind was introduced to humanity by, who was it? Let me see, I'm drawing a blank now. The Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud introduced the idea of the human subconscious. However, the idea of the collective unconscious applicable to all human beings was actually introduced by Carl Jung. Jung and Freud were, well, they were contemporaries for a while. Freud was born about 20 years before Jung and died like 25 years before him, something like that. So they were around on the planet for quite a long time at the same time. Freud did not believe in this collective unconscious, but Jung did. Jung also believed that there was a spiritual dimension to everybody, and that you could not be completely cured of any psychological issues unless you had some kind of spiritual grounding. So when we look at this reading, the way I look at it is this, by asking you, first of all, what is your practice? Do you have a practice every day where you just let things go? Mine is first thing in the morning. Usually, occasionally it gets pushed by, but almost always it's first thing in the morning. And I will do some breathing exercises, and then I'll have some quiet time. And of course, I, in my own way, do affirmative prayer for a whole bunch of people and things. But that's just my practice. That's my practice. But we all need some kind of practice. If you're not spiritual, you're not religious, then the breathing and the meditation can be a practice in itself. And that's the grounding that he's talking about here, that we need some basis to ground us in reality, so that when things go wrong, instead of looking at the bad stuff, we can focus on the good. When relationships go sour, we can look for good even in that. Sometimes, yes, it's very difficult. So he's suggesting to us that we develop a practice that keeps us grounded in reality. Meditation really is nothing more than living in the present moment. Yeah, and there's lots and lots of different kinds of meditation, different ways to meditate. There are different religious ways, spiritual ways, but there's also non-spiritual ways as well, just by sitting there in the quiet. You can get apps. I use an app that helps me to meditate. There's lots of them out there, whether you're on Android or an iPhone, you can find really good apps. I guess I'm not supposed to advertise the one I use, although occasionally I do tell people on here. However, it's really good to have a way that keeps you grounded, so that when things do go awry, either in your own life or with relationships or whatever, that you've somewhere else to turn and that you can look at the good. And actually, I don't know whether he intended this or not, but Reverend Josh has actually given us 2 meditations. The first one, I would say, applies to people who are religious and spiritual. And take this as you wish. He says, God or the divine spirit, this life is yours, do with it what you will. However, the other one can apply to anybody. He says, I refuse to be anything other than blessed. I refuse to be anything other than blessed. In other words, just be yourself. There's an old expression that kind of sums it up. It says there's a silver lining inside every cloud, or every cloud is a silver lining, whichever way you want to go. But the bottom line is, my message to everybody today is simply this. Find the spiritual practice or a non-spiritual practice that works for you, that keeps you grounded, so that when things go awry, you actually have got a firm foundation on which to move forward and move ahead. So that's about my message for this one. I will be back later on with the reading for today, and then hopefully tomorrow I can do 2 readings, and if not, I'll do 2 on Saturday, but we will catch up eventually. So I hope you like this reading. Pick one of those 2 affirmations, pick them both, pick none, make up your own. But above all, find a practice that you can do every day that keeps you grounded. And as I said, there's lots and lots and lots of meditation practices out there. But do something, even if you just sit quietly for 3 or 4 minutes, it's a start. So until later on, namaste.